Welcome to this week's segment of the Ripoff of the Week. My name is Adam Andrzejewski, and I'm the founder and CEO of OpenTheBooks.com. And you know our mission at Open the Books. It's to post every dime online in real time. And last year, our auditors filed 40,000 Freedom of Information Act requests. It was the most in American history, and we successfully captured $6 trillion of federal, state, and local spending. And we do this and we post it all on our website at openthebooks.com so you can follow the money, so you can hold the political class accountable for tax and spend decisions. All right, I want to get right to the topic this week. It's a great topic. It's the Pelosi subway to nowhere. And I want to introduce my co-host, Tamara Colbert. Tamara, you there?
I'm here, Adam. We don't have enough time to talk about all the details of the infrastructure bill, but Open the Books auditors did find one key component that directly benefits Speaker Pelosi. What is that?
So in the Senate infrastructure bill right now, we found language that allows federal taxpayer money to continue to flow to Nancy Pelosi's famous subway. And this is a subway that's just outside of her district between San Jose and the Silicon Valley. Many people watching the program will remember this past spring on the American Rescue Act, when there was $150 million earmark inserted into the legislation of the American Rescue Act, a COVID bill for this Pelosi quote unquote subway. When this was exposed, the Democrats, Pelosi pulled the subway funding out of that bill. They didn't put it in directly into the Senate. They used this language. The language allows this subway system to continue to take taxpayer dollars. They've already taken $225 million. According to their quote unquote construction budget, they want to take up to $1.7 billion of our money. This is for a subway system that is being extended 6 miles, and the total price tag on this thing, Tamara, will exceed $6.9 billion.
That's unbelievable when you think about that, Adam. Supposedly, this is being modeled off of a similar project in Barcelona, Spain. But I think there's a big financial difference when you compare the two projects as Open the Books auditors did.
Right. So the Barcelona project, it's a tunnel project. The purpose of it is not to disturb society as you build it out. In Spain, they did this thing for $250 million per mile. Of course, in California, Tamara, the cost is $1 billion per mile. This is not a subway train. This is a gravy train. Look, if we're going to do infrastructure, three conditions must be met. Principle number one, it must be sustainable. This rail system in California, it's 92% subsidized right now by taxpayers. Principle number two, if you're going to do infrastructure, is you must have a need. Nobody rides the trains in California. In this area of California, 1% of residents in this area actually ride this train system. Only 5% of commuters ride this train system. The other thing is it must have a gainful budget. This Pelosi subway system has a cost overrun of 50%. Check this out. It was originally forecast to be budgeted at $4.7 billion, and it hasn't broken ground yet. And now the cost is $6.9 billion. The costs are up 60%. To put that in numbers we can all understand, that's $2.2 billion, and they haven't even broken ground yet.
And essentially, how much is it per mile, Adam?
It's $1 billion a mile. The system in Spain was three quarters less. It was $225 million a mile.
That is unbelievable. And of course, we've talked about earmarks. This essentially is an earmark, right?
Yeah, it's a favor factory for coming out of the Senate for the House Speaker Pelosi. Look, on this infrastructure legislation, here's what everybody watching the ripoff of the week today needs to understand. You got 16, maybe 17 Republican U.S. senators that are making this infrastructure plan in the Senate bipartisan. And that is going to allow because of the workings and the rules between the two chambers. It's going to allow Nancy Pelosi, after this bipartisan infrastructure bill, to push a $3.5 trillion bill on reconciliation. And all that means is they just need Democrats. And they'll push that one. That's what they really want. They'll push that one next. And, so these 16 to 17 Republicans that are saying they want some roads and bridges, they're only getting about $110 billion worth of roads and bridges out of $600 billion in new spending. But what they're really allowing Pelosi in the House to do is then push a $3.5 trillion bill where Republicans won't even have a voice on what's in there.
So do you have any other examples of waste in this infrastructure bill?
Yeah. I mean, so the first instance of waste is only $1 out of $4 are for roads, bridges, and airports. So here's, in keeping with the Pelosi subway, Democrats, they want to scale back airline travel in this country because they think that, planes pollute, and they want to push ridership to these trains, to these train systems. And so there's $50 or $60 billion in this infrastructure bill coming out of the Senate for subways and light rail and train systems. Here's the thing. People don't ride trains in this country. Phoenix, Arizona, they put it to their voters. Their voters voted to convert their train system in Phoenix to a bus system. And it's not even legal to do a train system in Phoenix any longer. And that's because of the will of the people at the ballot box.
And I mean, that's where it should rely. That should be right there. That's the right answer. So what happens to the 1,472 House earmarks?
Well, that's the big question, because House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, her caucus is crumbling. She has a hard time keeping all these different factions together. So what she did, genius, you got to give her credit. She floated the idea of bringing back earmarks, and guess who jumped all over it? Republicans, which codifies Pelosi's power as speaker. And so she's got 90 pages worth of earmarks in the House infrastructure bill, 1,472 earmarks, including 23 newly elected Republican freshmen for about $400 million worth of earmarks in that House bill. They worked so hard on this. She's got so much leadership power at stake. Those things are not going away. I talked to an insider this afternoon, and she told me that those earmarks are going to go in the big reconciliation bill. They're going to pass this bipartisan infrastructure bill, which opens the door for what they all really want, which is the $3.5 trillion package on reconciliation that, again, blows out the national debt. We won't know what's in it until it passes. And so that's where those earmarks are going. And this insider said they're going to use those earmarks like a hammer. If you don't vote for that thing, you don't get your earmark in that bill. And she's going to use that to try to make that piece of legislation, that $3.5 trillion piece of legislation, bipartisan in the House.
That's unbelievable. So, Adam, there's really the key thing that we are asking our viewers to do is what?
Come to openthebooks.com. Across the top of the website is a petition tab. Click the petition tab, sign our petition to urge Congress to read the bill. We already got about 20,000 regular Americans that have signed off. This is a 99% issue with the American people. We don't have a representative republic if our representatives don't have time to read the bill. This Senate infrastructure bill is 2,700 pages. You'd have to be a speed reader to read this thing. U.S. Senator Rick Scott out of Florida turned our petition on Read the Bill into Senate legislation that even takes it a step further. Not only would there be a 72-hour timeout after the last version of the bill is completed to allow everybody to have some time to hold people accountable, but it would also, in Rick Scott's legislation, force a signature affidavit from every single U.S. senator saying that they actually read the bill. That's legally binding. You wouldn't have 2,700-page bills if they had to sign off on an affidavit saying they actually read this thing.
Absolutely. So You can go to openthebooks.com. As Adam said at the top of the page, there is the petition tab. All you need to do is click that and read the bill. Petition is the first one. It comes right up. Adam, what else can they do? They can sign the petition and they can do what? Call their legislators?
Yeah, you got to bring the heat on those 16 to 17 Republican U.S. senators that are going to vote for this bipartisan infrastructure bill. That bill's, riddled with all kinds of different things that we didn't talk about, but it opens the door to Nancy Pelosi's $3.5 trillion reconciliation package that only Democrats will vote for. And those 16 to 17 Republicans in the Senate, they will have enabled this.
So you guys, openthebooks.com, go to the petitions tab, and please sign the petition. And by the way, you can forward that petition to 10 of your friends. That would even help more. And share this segment of the Ripoff of the Week on your social media sites. That would really help us a lot. Adam, next week, you and I already know what we're going to be talking about, and it's going to be equally as riveting. So please, next week, join us, 4:30 Central, 5:30 Eastern Time, for another Ripoff of the Week. Thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Tamara.